So I had been experimenting with different types of launches for my membership for a few months. I had been playing with workshops and I finally did a boot camp, which I was extremely excited about until nobody bought. And so I hit that point where I realized that I was giving too much away and I was attracting people who just wanted to like come take the free stuff and then move on, because I've found that the people who are ideally suited to join my program want to know that I'm capable of helping them and they need a bite-sized taste of me. So while I didn't know that, I just knew that I had to like level up my sales and I had to be prepared to just sell to people in a great authentic way, but I had to be a little bit more was, I don't know, not strategic, and also just like doing all the things that help people buy. So that I was like, when I this came across my uh Facebook, somebody posted it, I just went, oh, this is what I need. I need to sell to people properly. And so yeah, I didn't even hesitate. I just bought it right away, knowing that I would have a system that took me out of the equation and that I didn't have to show up to all the time to and feel like I had to be either on or that I might mess up. Like I needed to know that I was just putting my best forward and that it wasn't like my whatever I was doing wasn't subject to all these factors of like how I was feeling or what energy was around or how many people signed up for something. It's like I could just put everything into one amazing thing and then rely on that. And also knowing that I wasn't going to stop selling to people, but just making sure that we're being consistent. And sales is the hardest thing to do consistently. And the unpredictability of sales can just be so challenging that I would rather have some system that I trust than to experiment like in a crazy way that might create some random one-off success, but then I can't replicate it, because it's if you can't replicate it, then it's not worth it at all, even if you just get it one time. So it really allows us to create mini experiments that are not time consuming, that don't lead to burnout, so we can enhance and change, but we don't have to really, really question the system, the cycle, that we can just trust it. And I think that we can always improve things, but we can still um, rely on it to work. It's going to work some of the time, or at least, at least it's going to work well enough to not mess with it. I have lots of email experience. While that was really helpful as well, putting together a webinar and a really good one is actually deep work. Like it takes pulling on all the things that are really important to you, and it takes time. So I was surprised at how long it took me to like how much time it took me to write it. But then, and I even had some resistance around some of the things I had to say, because in the past I had really, really not stepped up into that transformational power and thought, well, I don't want to convince anyone of everything, of anything that they are not otherwise already convinced. But then in really coming up with it and creating all those sections, I felt like I fell in love with it. And I was I was like, wow, this, I really believe this. And it feels really good to put it out there with confidence and with enthusiasm, because that's what it requires and it works. So I think that was really big for me, because it was also not something that I was doing naturally, and it really forced me to come up with some good stuff. It was really, really full on. It was really hands on, and I really learned a lot. It was comprehensive. It's not often that you join a course and get that much support without it being tens of thousands of dollars. So to get an entire system with a very clear outcome that can work for any business in any type of program is pretty significant. So I think it was like of great value. I was surprised at how much value it was and how valuable it was to me, and how it really did change the way I'm selling in my business, the way I'm launching. And in it and creating something I'm very confident about. And that is a really big deal. And a lot of people are charging like $20,000 for this kind of support. And it's just, you can't justify that when you haven't actually used something yet and seen it successful. So it felt like, yes, this is absolutely a no brainer price point for the amount of value it was. I would say that if you know that your weakest link is sales and you're just not getting the enrollments or the people buying, and you know that you're not really putting your best case forward, then you will learn a ton about what it takes to get people to really see themselves with the result, not just because you're confident that you can get them the result that they're looking for, and not just because you're telling them that they'll get the result, but how you tell the stories that put them in the place of actually feeling it and being ready to buy. That is like a thing that if you're not doing that, then it's going to make a big difference no matter where you're at, to learn that, to understand that, and to be able to then start to weave that into what you're doing, because it's the way people need to buy. And that's what we all need to buy. We're making decisions on so many different factors. And if we don't include them, it's not as effective. You know, you always launch something and you think, oh, what if I get this many sales? Because we get excited and we fantasize. And then we also, when we launch it, we always think, what if nobody buys? So yeah, I got some really good sales, just to even my cold, not, I wouldn't say my cold list, but past people who have been on my list for a little while and hadn't bought yet. They're amazing people. And so it just makes me realize that now I'm more confident of getting the right people in the program, which makes a big difference for me because they are already very successful. And that's going to just up the value for everyone in it. And they'll, upsell, like, I had somebody who even bought the strategy call that was half the value of the program in addition. So I think that it's just really making me realize that now I have something that works. And now that I can go out there and actually get visibility and get traffic and know that it's going to lead somewhere, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. Like, I can just let go and stop worrying about, will this work? Will this work? Because it has worked and I know it will continue to work and people are impressed by it. And it's something I can trust. And now I just have to actually do my work way more sustainably without going, should I try something new now? And then not being sure if it'll work, because I can add things to this, but I definitely don't have to reinvent the wheel anymore. And that's a huge amount of time and saver. And it's also just mentally healthy to just feel like you can actually just do your regular thing and not have to worry about the roller coaster or boom and bust. But I more than got my value out of the program. Like, I probably tripled my ROI already. And I'm not even finished the cycle yet. So 10 or 11 days. So I've just started my regular enrollment period. And so that will wrap up in about 5 days. And then and that was with a list again of most people who weren't necessarily asking to be in my cycle. So when I start to actually put in quite a few numbers of people who are like, I really want this training and I really have got the time to pay attention to it and watch it, then I'm really looking forward to seeing those stats. So yeah, so I think just knowing that I can confidently put people into this system and it's going to do the best job possible is really great, because then I can actually get to work bringing more people into my world, knowing that there's somewhere natural for them to go to figure out if I've got what they need. That's huge. That's huge.